This tastes terrible. If I eat this, I'm going to feel sick. Rebecca laughed, poking fun at the meal I had prepared. I had tried it myself earlier, and it seemed fine to me. She was just being fussy. Emano and I had spent 3 days getting everything ready for this dinner. We were excited when we found out our eldest son and his wife were coming over. Looking back, Emano and I realized how foolish we were for getting our hopes up. Rebecca's rude attitude, and Maxwell just going along with her, really drained us. We felt disconnected from them, and keeping a relationship with Rebecca seemed impossible. Maybe we should set some clear boundaries with her before I talk to her, Emano suggested as he reached for the dish. I'm Kendall, a woman in my 70s who spent years as a homemaker, living with my husband Emano. We have a son, Maxwell. He graduated from a prestigious university, landed a job at a big company, and moved to Boston 2 years ago. He told us he was getting married. The woman he introduced as his fiancée seemed lovely. Maxwell said they would move closer to us after the wedding and wanted to spend time together, especially with Rebecca. We were happy about it but had some reservations about Rebecca. Maxwell reassured us that she was excited and wanted to build a relationship with us, so we went along with their plans. 2 months after they married, Maxwell and Rebecca kept their word and moved nearby. We were eager to bond with Maxwell and get to know Rebecca better, but things didn't go as smoothly as we hoped. Maxwell transferred from his main office to a branch in our town, thinking it would be easier, but it turned out to be harder. The real problem was Rebecca's spending habits. Even when Maxwell was earning well at headquarters, she had a tendency to overspend. After the transfer, when his paycheck took a slight hit, Rebecca's spending only worsened. No matter how much Maxwell earned, she spent most of it, leaving them struggling financially. Maxwell was never one to care much about appearances and led a simple life. He worked hard but rarely had time to visit us. Rebecca wasn't around much either. Their move nearby felt pointless, despite being so close. We hardly ever saw them. Maxwell was always tied up with work, and we were hesitant to reach out to Rebecca directly. It broke our hearts knowing Maxwell was facing difficulties. Even though he was struggling, we tried to help by sending them $1,100 each month. It was all we could manage with Emano retired and living on a pension. Every time we sent the money, Maxwell thanked us, but his voice always sounded tired, which pained us. We wanted to help his parents, so we did whatever we could, whether it was spending time with him, taking him shopping, or treating him to a meal. When they were away, we'd clean their house for them. We knew our small gestures couldn't fix everything, but at least we were doing something. 2 years passed, and Maxwell's situation didn't improve. Watching him struggle made us feel like we had to do something. We decided to invite Maxwell and Rebecca over for a meal. Knowing Rebecca might not accept a simple dinner invitation, we decided to go all out and prepare a grand feast to entice them. I suggested it to Emano, but he hesitated, unsure of his cooking skills. However, he took the initiative and even went out to buy the ingredients. To our surprise, the promise of a feast worked, and both Maxwell and Rebecca agreed to come over. For 3 days, Emano and I worked hard preparing the meal. Maxwell and Rebecca arrived in the afternoon, looking like they were unwinding from the stress of their daily lives. Maxwell seemed particularly worn out, so we offered him our bedroom to rest. As Maxwell went off to rest, Rebecca, seemingly unaware of our efforts in the kitchen, sat on the sofa glued to the TV. Then, without warning, she walked into the kitchen and bluntly asked, "Why are you putting in so much effort?" Taken aback by her directness, we didn't have a chance to answer before she continued. "What's the point of all this? Do you actually enjoy doing this? If you've got so much free time, why don't you find a job and make some money? Retirement must be tough, huh?" Her mocking laugh filled the room. I stepped forward. "Isn't it rude to speak like that when you've been invited for a meal? Show some respect for your in-laws. A little courtesy wouldn't hurt." Rebecca's face turned red. "Are you trying to pick a fight with me? You think your words don't hurt?" I wasn't trying to start a confrontation, all I wanted was some basic manners, but her twisting of my words and defensive attitude left me stunned. Seemingly satisfied with her outburst, Rebecca retreated to the living room. Emano looked disappointed, but with dinner still ahead, we tried to collect ourselves. Then, from the hallway, Rebecca's voice rose. "Why are you always against me? Can't you support me just once? I'm your wife." We rushed to see what was happening. Alarmed, Rebecca stood by the bedroom door with Maxwell, who should have been resting, beside her. "Why won't you back me up? Why are you taking their side?" she shouted, clutching Maxwell's shirt. Realizing the situation was escalating, we intervened. "Let's calm down. What's going on here? Emano held Rebecca back while I turned to Maxwell to understand. Exhausted, Maxwell explained what had happened. He had been trying to rest after work but was abruptly woken by a slamming door. When he went to check, he found Rebecca in a rage, accusing me of being the problem. Confused, Maxwell was overwhelmed by her emotions. Rebecca, misinterpreting his silence, questioned his loyalty to her. Still groggy, Maxwell struggled to understand. Feeling helpless, Rebecca's anger continued to rise, leaving Maxwell stuck in the middle, drained and hopeless. I confronted Rebecca. It's not okay to wake your exhausted husband up and yell at him. Do you realize how strange you're acting? Feeling cornered, Rebecca muttered a half-hearted apology, her eyes showing no real remorse. Despite the tension, we still sat down for dinner. We had prepared juicy steaks and fresh seafood, hoping to offer the best we could. Maxwell seemed to appreciate it, but Rebecca, eyeing the meal, couldn't help but make a sarcastic remark. Just because you serve this doesn't mean I'll forgive the way I've been treated. It was disheartening after all our efforts. Maxwell tried to lighten the atmosphere, but Rebecca shut down every attempt. I told her, you really need to change your attitude. She ignored me, even with the TV off. She heard me, yet deliberately ignored my words. Feeling defeated, Emano tried to comfort me. We managed to maintain some composure before the meal, but once she tasted the food, she exclaimed, "What is this disgusting mess? I'll be sick from eating this." Her mocking laugh left me speechless. Stunned by her cruelty, I stared at her. "You're doing this on purpose to make me sick, aren't you? You go to such lengths to torment me. You're truly a wicked mother-in-law." Her words were filled with contempt and anger. My hands trembled as I clenched them. Why do we have to endure this? How can Rebecca be so cruel to others? Knowing how tired Maxwell is, why doesn't she feel any responsibility to help him? Why does she dismiss our kindness so easily? I struggled to find the right words. Seeing my frustration, Emano reached for his plate. "I've stayed quiet until now, but I've had enough." Emano's usual calm demeanor transformed into something formidable. When he was angry, it had been a long time since I had seen him so upset. With anger simmering, Emano declared, "I'm cutting ties with you. Leave now." His voice boomed as he confronted Rebecca, catching her off guard. "Father-in-law, how can you say that to your daughter-in-law? Do you enjoy making trouble?" I never imagined he would speak to her this way. She shot back, her eyes welling with tears, but Emano didn't flinch. "Call it harassment if you like. I can't consider you part of this family anymore. Leave." Emano's words hit Rebecca hard, like a slap of reality. "Fine, I'll go. From now on, I want nothing to do with you or your mother. You'll regret this." She quickly packed her things and stormed out. I glanced at Maxwell, wondering if he would follow her, but he looked resigned. "It doesn't matter," he muttered, focusing on his meal, clearly avoiding any further conflict. We decided to let her go and agreed Maxwell would spend the night with us. Maxwell seemed relieved to avoid an immediate confrontation with Rebecca. For the first time in a while, we had some peaceful family time. We shared stories, vented about Rebecca, and even reminisced about old camping trips. As we relaxed in the living room, the cramped couch reminded us of how much Maxwell had grown. But our brief rest didn't last long. The next morning, the doorbell rang, waking us up. As expected, it was Rebecca. While Maxwell, Emano, and I discussed our next move, Rebecca's frantic pounding on the door filled me with dread. "Mother-in-law, I know you're in there. Where's Maxwell? He's here, right? Let him out." Her voice was full of frustration. Realizing that handing Maxwell over to her would only make things worse, we decided to let her in for a conversation. Rebecca stormed inside, glaring at me with hostility. "You think you can steal my husband? That's outrageous," she yelled, her anger burning. But her accusations no longer affected me. "That's a harsh thing to say. We just offered him a place to stay because of the way you've been treating him. He made the decision, not me. It's unfair to blame me." Rebecca's face flushed with embarrassment. "You and your husband are the worst. Stay away from us forever." Her words didn't faze us. Emano and I were prepared to cut ties with her. The tension thickened until Maxwell dropped a bombshell. "I can't do this anymore. Let's get a divorce." Maxwell's words shocked Rebecca. Her face, still red with anger, softened as desperation crept in. "A divorce? Seriously? You're choosing your parents over me?" Maxwell stayed firm. "A wife who neglects her responsibilities and parties all the time versus my parents, who've always been there for me. The choice is clear." Despite Rebecca's pleas and accusations of manipulation, Maxwell stood his ground. Then, unexpectedly, Maxwell slapped Rebecca across the face, leaving everyone in the room in stunned silence. Rebecca struggled to understand what had just happened. You've been a burden to me and to your parents, aren't you ashamed? I tried to help you see sense, but I was wrong. Please don't say such things. I love you, please reconsider. Maxwell's words were final. Rebecca, defeated, left, realizing that further argument was pointless. In the days that followed, Maxwell stayed with us as he filed for divorce, which has now been finalized. Rebecca hesitated to sign the papers, forcing lawyers to get involved. Fortunately, Maxwell had proof of Rebecca's extravagant spending habits, which helped secure the divorce. He also sought compensation for the health problems caused by stress and overwork, which had recently been diagnosed as a lifestyle-related illness. Rebecca's parents eventually paid the settlement, leaving Maxwell indebted to them. Rebecca now works hard to repay them. Despite the divorce, Maxwell stayed with us for a while, seeking comfort from the turmoil. Today, he's back on his feet, working hard. While challenges may come, we'll always be here for him, ready to support him however we can.